We're doing a 32-team, 7-round NFL mock draft simulation, and I'm controlling the AFC South. That way it feels like a video game. The other picks are coming off the board. I got to stress out my picks. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing multiple mock drafts a week. Multiple different ways to do a mock draft. We're trying to break the draft every time we draft by doing something different every time. 7 rounds today, 3 rounds tomorrow, but we'll always be here. Click that button, stop missing out, but we gotta dig into this draft. We have to look at what's going to come our way today. We're drafting as the AFC South, 4 teams. Here we go, 7 rounds of chaos, but I got the first pick. The first pick off the board. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with what we think the Titans are telling us, and I think it's going to be Cam Ward. I think it's going to be Cam Ward coming off the board, 1 overall. Let's pull him off the board. What does the Browns do? Travis Hunter, come on down. Giants. Armin comes off from Missouri. Patriots get T-Mac. They're adding a wide receiver for Drake May. I'm back up here, going over here. Armin's been a huge riser after the combine. Killed it. Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are my top plays in this draft. I'm the Jaguars, and if I'm the Jaguars, I want one of those 2 players. I want this draft to happen. I don't think it's realistic. Just because it happens doesn't mean I agree with the simulator. I'm playing a video game here with the draft. I'm trying to make it realistic, kind of not just trying to mess around here, because nobody had Michael Penix going to the Falcons last year. Maybe I catch something different or a new clue, but I'm also getting a good feel for the draft. But there's no way I'm letting Abdul Carter fall any further. I'm drafting him to the Jaguars. Jaguar fans, I get it. You're getting Abdul Carter. Talent over need. Ashton, Jeanty to the Raiders. Plugging up that running back depth chart. Tyler Warren to the Jets. Mike Green to the Panthers. Jahdae Barron to the Saints. He's been a riser. Micah Williams to the Bears. Will Campbell to the 49ers. Going offensive line like they do in a lot of mocks. G.I. Campbell, linebacker to the Cowboys. Luther Burden, big get for the Dolphins. Going over these picks before I pick here. Going over this. I think Tyler Warren to the Jets. That helps the passing situation, the wide receiver depth chart here a lot. Getting more talent here for Justin Fields and for the long term, whatever they do at quarterback. Ashton, Jeanty. This offensive line for the Raiders is nuts. I think this is going to really help him out. It's high for a running back. It's high for a running back. But you got to make a move. Maybe you do it later with another running back. I'm not saying 100% agree with this. But it's high for a running back, but you're getting the talent. You're getting the talent here, and you're going to ride him. You're going to ride your boy. Mike Green to the Panthers, stud. Jahdae Barron's been a climber. Maybe not one of my favorite corners, but I respect the talent. Michael Williams, I respect the talent. Bears have been loading up on the offensive line. It's hard to mock for them right now. And I noticed they've changed the position of needs for some of these players, which is a good thing. Tackle to the Niners. Will Campbell's a huge get for them. I don't see him falling this far. I just don't see it happen. G.I. Campbell to the Cowboys. It's first I've seen that happen for the Cowboys. First time. Luther Burden. I think that's a fun get for the Dolphins. I think that could make this offense fun. I think you got Tua there. I think that's an underrated thought of them going one of these wide receivers, considering it's a drop-off. Not a huge position of need, but I can understand the fortitude here. I got the Colts on the clock. Tight end, guard, edge, linebacker, safety is what PFF is saying for the Colts. Doesn't mean I'm going to do that. Looking at edge, James Pierce is there. I love him. Colston Loveland could be a pick here that could surprise you if Tyler Warren's off the board. And he's talented enough to get drafted here. We're looking at what else is here. Linebacker, I don't see it. I don't see it. Safety. Safety's the other one. And where is he? He's kind of here. Where is he at? It's Malachi. Where'd Malachi go? He's fallen. He's fallen down the board a lot. There he is. Malachi Starks is another option. You also got Mason Graham. That's a hell of a talent to just forget about. That's a hell of a talent to forget about. James Pierce killed it at the combine. Malachi Starks, one of the top safeties. Mason Graham. Ultimately, you trade back here in real life. There's not a bad pick. You can even go Will Johnson. There's not a bad pick here. Donnie E's been climbing their board. I like noticing those things. I like Donnie E. I've been drafting him a lot. I love James Pierce. Let's take him to the Colts. I want to see where the other guys go to. What are the Falcons doing here? Mason Graham. He can't sit there much longer. And Kenneth Grant comes off to the Cardinals. Donnie E goes to the Bengals. They get their edge. Shamar Stewart's to Seattle. They get their edge. Bucks go Marion Hampton. Him and Bucky Irving. That might be a reach considering what they already have. Kelvin Banks to the Broncos. Malachi Starks. He feels like a Steeler. Mika Ibuka to the Chargers. More talent at wide receiver. Derek Harmon to the Packers. Matthew Golden to the Vikings. Them getting another wide receiver. Them getting some speed. This draft has went nuts a little bit. I'm not saying I agree with it. There'll be somebody in the comments not understanding that it's kind of like a video game here, seeing what's coming off the board. Donnie E's been a riser here for PFF. I see that, and I understand. Shamar Stewart, edge, coming off for Seattle. Edge is thinning out. I can see teams jumping up to get the positions that are thinning up. However, Marion Hampton going to the Bucks. I just don't see that happening. I don't agree with that. You got Bucky Irving. You can wait a little bit if you want to get another running back. You also got Rashad White. You got Sean Tucker. You honestly don't need to get it back in this draft, but you could also get a quality back in the 5th round while filling up other positions of need and still get a potential starter down the road or a guy to pair with Bucky Irving. Kelvin Banks, that's just talent that's there that you're rolling with. There's other positions of need. Malachi Starks. You could have went Mika Ibuka for the Broncos. Malachi Starks to the Steelers. I mean, he fell. He falls in a lot of these mocks. That's one reason why I control a division, to see who's falling per PFF, the rankings, and everything else. Matthew Golden to the Vikings. I don't think that's necessary. I think you can go with Will Johnson, who's on the board. So Texans need other positions here. And the thing is, a lot of people, when a player falls to me, they fault me for not picking the position they absolutely need versus the amazing talent that just fell to their lap. The talent's so grand that I'm either going to catch a nice trade, or I just make the play and I'm just rolling with it, taking the talented player. That is what I'm doing. That is the process here. That's why I'm drafting Will Johnson. Like, it does not matter if I'm good at corner. It does not matter if I need this or X, Y, and Z. It does not matter. Will Johnson coming down. I'm doing it. I don't care. Jalen Walker, linebacker. Like, I can't miss out on a stud talent just because I need X position. Josh Simmons, tackle to the Ravens. That's a huge get. Nick Amari, South Carolina to the Lions. People think they need edge. They do, but you got 2nd-round edge rushers right now in the draft that we're looking at. So Browns are up. Who are they getting? Colston Loveland. Tyleik Williams coming off the board. I want to point out something, but I want to make some cases here first. Jalen Walker, big-time linebacker talent, going to the Rams. Josh Simmons going to the Ravens. I love him at Ohio State. I think he's going to get drafted a little bit sooner. Xavier Watts to Washington. Walter Nolan to the Bills. He's going to be a huge get in the back end of the draft. He's going to be a huge get. Trey Amos comes up in the draft. Eagles going heavy DB. Last year, this year, I don't see that. But there's going to be talent here. There's going to be talent that falls to the Eagles. That's one thing I want to say. Defense is going to fall to him in this draft. Maybe somebody on the offensive side, but defense is going to fall to him. Darius Alexander. Chiefs have a nasty defense. Maybe they want to add something on the other side. However, Colston Loveland to the Browns. That's a good pick to play with David Njoku and company. Just adding to the offense, considering you got to make some moves. Tyleik Williams to the Giants. Now I got the Titans on the clock. Now look at this. Shedeur Sanders is still on the board. This is not the first draft where PFF and the simulator just had him drop. Is that an indicator? Or is this just funny business? Or is it just a random thing that's happening? With the Titans, I already drafted my quarterback. I went Cam Ward. So I'm going to let this one fall forward here for a minute. So we got the Titans here. Wide receiver, edge, linebacker. Looking at what's available here. Top end. Nick Scorton's a big guy to get. Nick Scorton. We also got Demetrius Knight. We got some ballers here. I could trade back and get some talent. I might even get some good talent when I'm up next. That's the thing about this. Wide receiver, I can wait a little bit. I don't love the class. I just don't. And I might even double up a little bit in edge in this class because eventually teams will start ignoring that position. They have Shedeur Sanders, 47 overall. So they're really going hard on the rankings here and not chasing need as much. Nick Scorton, I like him a little bit. I like it. I think Demetrius Knight at linebacker, there's a little bit of a drop-off. Also got Zabel there. I want to get something for Cam Ward too. There is some wide receiver talent here at the top. I like A.O. Manor. I like him a lot. They do need to add some talent immensely at wide receiver. I think at the meat and potatoes positions here, I'm going to be able to find some talent in rounds 3, 4 that can help me out a little bit. Let's do a little reach. Let's get our wide receiver. Let's get him a wide receiver here. Now I'm on the clock with the Jaguars. Tight end, defensive line, safety. We can really go a lot of routes here. Let's scroll down here for a bit. Edge, cornerback, edge. Shamar Turner. Tyler Booker's still on the board. I don't believe you need to chase players. I'll say that's a value. I'll say that's a hell of value here. Wide receiver, something you can wait on. Tight end is a position you can pull the trigger on here and be fine. Wouldn't be too crazy. So we're looking what's available here at safety. That's going to be a little bit. We're at 36. Gray Zabel's there. Nick Scorton's available. TJ Sanders is one of our guys. Let's fill a position of need there. Get it done. The value's right. Everything's good. Alfred Collins to the Raiders. Gray Zabel to the Patriots. And to that offensive line. Bears go to Jack Betch. Nick Scorton edge to the Saints. Quinshon Judkins to the Bears. Shedeur Sanders to the Jets. They get their quarterback. Donovan Jackson to the Niners. Tyler Booker to the Cowboys. That's a huge get. I don't see him falling that far. Not at all. Not at all. Guard. Tight end. Booker came off the board right in front of us. Smart on their part. Landon Jackson's there. Tight end. We got some guys available here. We can probably wait a minute. Arroyo, Taylor, Ferguson. Let's see. Our next pick after this is at 80. If one of those guys are on the board, we are dancing with it. However, we got Demetrius Knight, Josh Connerly. We can look at that. Guard, we can wait on a little bit. Safety is dead for a bit. So, Landon Jackson, Princely, Braden Swinson. I'm going with, well, Demetrius Knight's there too. We're also looking at that. Demetrius Knight. I got him a tier ahead of those edges. Falcons. On the clock, Josh Connerly. He fell in this draft. Jaden Higgins to the Cardinals. Adding talent for Kyler Murray. Maxwell Harrison's been a riser but fell in this draft. Ravel fell to the Bengals. Landon Jackson to Seattle. I think that might be 2 edges. Restrepo to the Broncos. Thomas to the Seattle Seahawks. The Bucks go with a linebacker. Ivy to the Packers. Chargers get Trevion Henderson. They get some speed at running back. And that with Najee. That's kind of nasty. Elijah Arroyo off the board. Jack Sawyer to the Panthers. Now I'm up with the Texans. Wide receiver, offensive line. Our last pick. That was Will Johnson. That fell into our lap. This is offensive line. What's there? We have the guy from Minnesota. We got a little bit left on the board. There's more cornerbacks. Wide receiver's not super deep right now. It's just not. Wide receiver is not a great position to tap into. We got Jalen Noel. We got speed. We got speed right there. We got Jalen Royals. I like him. Tez Johnson, not so much. Trey Harris. Trey Harris is a target. Isaiah Bond's a target at 79 and 89. We can wait a little bit just to see if that happens. If you want to play that, we can go Jalen Noel here. We're kind of reaching. Guys. Let's go inside offensive line. Ratledge is there. Let's go tackle. I think Cameron Williams is the guy I like. Cameron Williams, we're going to keep him in Texas. We're getting our tackle. Ravens. select Norman Lott, defensive lineman. Princely comes off the board to the Lions. There, you get your edge in the second round, Lions fans. Mason Taylor to the Commanders. My man Benjamin Morrison going to the Chiefs. An edge going to the Eagles. Big pickup here for the Giants. Tyron Tracy's going to have to share the backfield with a stud and Caleb Johnson. Jordan Birch to the Chiefs. Edge from Ohio State to the Browns. Shamar Turner, defensive lineman, going to the Raiders. Trey Harris, huge get, going to the Patriots. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, safety is what they got. Abdul Carter, TJ Sanders, they're killing it on the defensive side of the ball. Are we going to go to the offensive side here? Running back is something we could look at here. Running back is something we can think about. We got some runners right here. That top end of the pool is dying out on us. That's one thing to look at. Defensive line, where are we at on safety? Is there any safeties close to us? Is there any safeties? Tight end. Terrence Ferguson's right there. He's right there for the picking. We lost our tight end. We lost him. Terrence Ferguson's a guy to look at. Tight end, going at the position well. And we know there's some teams in our division that needs a tight end. And we were going to look at them. Now we're picking 70 overall. Do we make that play? Terrence Ferguson's a dog. He's a dog. Let's make that. Let's make it happen. There we go. On the clock here. Sebastian Castro going to the Saints. Darren Porter to the Bears. I love that pick. Kennard going to the Jets. A huge edge going to them. Winston from Penn State going to the Panthers. Defensive lineman going to the Niners. Savion Williams going to the Cowboys. Jalen Royals, one of my favorite wide receivers, falling to the Pats. Tate Ratledge, guard, going to the Cards. We're on the clock here with the Houston Texans. Cameron Williams, Will Johnson. Wide receiver, not a huge position of need. We're in the part of the draft where we can play around with that. Offensive line as well. We got a tackle. Where are we at on the interior offensive line? We're in that ballpark for that if we want. We can really play around too. When we're looking at wide receiver, what's left on the board? Any of my guys? Jalen Knoll. Jalen Knoll's got some speed. He can really help you out taking over in that spot where Tank Dell's coming back. And then on top of that, you'll just have some extra guys there. Isaiah Bond, if you want to wait a bit, he could be there. And that's an upside play. That's an upside play for the long term. Not going to be as expensive. Then after that, you may want to forget about wide receiver. You may want to forget about it until you get to Ricky White real late. That's what I would say. However, one thing, if you're looking for some sexy need here, running back. And all these running backs, you can wait on. You got Cam Scattaboo here. I think we pull the trigger. You got Joe Mixon. He ain't there for long. We know that. We need to add talent. Let's go. There we go. Colts are up. That is me. Tight end, guard, edge, linebacker, safety. James Pierce, Demetrius Knight. Meat and potatoes right now. Meat and potatoes. Tight end. Tight end got zapped from us. Guys. We might not be drafting a tight end for a few more rounds. Looking at guard. Interior offensive line. Where's that at? Where'd that go? We lost. There it is. We're looking at Willie Lampkin. We can wait a little bit on that. I believe. Edge. Where is Edge at? That is something to look at here. Josiah Stewart from Michigan. Just get an edge. However, we got our edge. Safety. We're kind of in a tough spot. This is why we do it like this. Lathan Ramson right there. We're looking at position of needs. Let's see if we can just go sex with this pick. Make it sexy. Josiah Stewart's right there. We already got our edge. Chris Paul at linebacker. I like the talent there. I like what I saw at the combine. He's been a riser for me. There's some of his stats. Let's go Chris Paul to the Colts. Bengals. Go Ozzie. Tackle from Boston College. Charles Grant from William & Mary. Devin Neal going to the Steelers. Are getting their running back. DJ Giddens going to the Bucs. They went 2 running backs. They went 2 running backs. They're overhauling. That's not real. That's not going to happen. Jalen Noel to the Chargers. I think they went wide receiver twice. That ain't happening. Joshua Farmer, defensive lineman to the Packers. Now I'm on the clock. I think there was another pick that I didn't talk about here or react to. RJ Harvey to the Broncos. That is going to be a huge get for them. Good in the passing game. Very explosive. Very productive. That's going to be a huge get for them. That could be realistic down the line, especially as they build this team through this draft. Jaguars are on the clock. I want to look at what I've done so far. They're having a nice, sexy draft here. Abdul Carter, TJ Sanders, drafting Terrence Ferguson before anybody else can. Now we're looking at here wide receiver, tight end. Let's look at wide receiver. Isaiah Bond's there. Tez Johnson's there. He's a faller for me. He's a huge faller. After I drafted Isaiah Bond, it's kind of over with. It's where when I look at running back, we got some dudes left. Did I already draft the run? No. I can wait on running back a little bit, still get a guy. But I also, when I look at wide receiver, I don't have to have my dude be good off the rip, especially this late in the draft. I've drafted edge, defensive line, and tight end. So if I keep going, I got an edge here, I got another edge. I can probably wait on edge. I can probably add depth to offensive line pretty easy here. That's another route. Safety, Ransom's here. That's a good value. We got some interesting spots here. Ransom versus Bond. It's a need, and there's upside there. Let's chase the upside. Big time prospect. Let's do that. Texans are up. They got sniped at wide receiver. Now we got to make a play. Offensive line's available. You can always add depth. We're in the middle of the 3rd round. You can always add depth there. And we got some talent here right on the board. We can go edge. Get that talent. We got Josiah Stewart there. He's fallen to us. That's something to look at. Wide receiver zapped. Up. We were going to wait on that. However, you can get some extra talent here. Add offensive line. Get that depth. Or take the talent that fell to us in Josiah Stewart, because we can't draft another running back. We can't double up in the 3rd round. Let's go Stewart. In the 3rd round, you could just take the talent that comes to you, then play with the positions of need. Jeffrey Bassa, linebacker. Dylan Sampson going to the Ravens. Them getting talent at running back. Edge to the Seattle. Saints go quarterback Jackson Dart. Good for the long term there. Jonah Savina, tackle to the Browns. Tez Johnson to the Chiefs. Edge to the Eagles. They're going heavy defense. I don't see that's going to be that likely. White Millen, one of my favorite tackles in this range, to the Dolphins. Ransom going to the 49ers. I don't have to worry about him again. Roberts to the Rams. David Walker to the Lions. I'm back up on the board with the Titans. Looking at what I got here. Ale Manor, Cam Ward. Sexy draft. I need to get some meat and potatoes here. We do have a tight end here. We do have a center here to look at. We need to get some defense as well. Edge, linebacker. Edge has died out. And it's the 4th round. We're trying to find some guys that can play, but also get some depth at this range. So we do have some guys here at edge we can look at that can help us out. Looking at linebacker. Here's what we're looking at for position of needs here. Barrett Carter. We can wait. We're just getting some roster fodder or some upside guys for the back end of the roster. Really, that's what we're looking at. Looking at wide receiver. It's dead. Dead as a doornail there. So looking at the top of the draft. Looking at the most talented guys available. We got a tight end, Harold Fannin, available. We got a wide receiver, Harold Fannin. Very productive at Bowling Green. A lot of people like him. We can go offensive line, just getting more depth there. We can go Dorian Strong, a strong cornerback prospect, no pun intended. Coming down here looking at guys alike. Will Howard's available. You're not doing that after you drafted your quarterback. Teams have done it. Teams have done that. The Commanders did it when RG3 did, who was that other quarterback. Honestly, we got to get Cam Ward some weapons here. Harold Fannin's a good tight end. He's a good tight end. Let's do it. Keep the draft sexy. Browns are up. Dorian Strong. Giants are up. Jared Wilson from Georgia. Anthony Belton to the Patriots. Jaguars are on the clock. This is who we've all selected. Abdul Carter, TJ Sanders, Terrence Ferguson, Isaiah Bond. They're having a fun, sexy draft. They're having a fun, sexy draft here. We're up here. Thinking outside the box, we got Jacob Parrish, CJ West. That fills in some needs there. CJ West does. And gives you some extra depth there at defensive line. We do that. Can't keep it too sexy. Raiders are up. Jonas Sanker. Bills are up. Jalen Milroe getting him an upside play at quarterback. Jaden Blue to the Jets, another running back. You say it's not likely, but they keep drafting running backs in real life. Dotson, cornerback to the Panthers. Knoll to the Saints. Rivers to the 49ers. Panthers go with Parrish. Cardinals go with Peebles. Defensive lineman. Dolphins off with a safety. Now I'm up here. And you know what? I think I got to make this pick. I don't even care what I already drafted. Linebacker. Two of them in a row and an edge. That's not realistic, but you got depth here. I think you do it. I think you got to do it. Willie Lampkin, though, is right there. I think you got to do it. Will Howard's right there looking at you in the face. When do you pick next? 151. You know what? If Riley Leonard or Will Howard's not going to be there. And if Anthony Richardson doesn't work out, you have a prospect here that's a winner that has played well with two different collegiate programs. And I know you got other positions of need here. And we drafted two linebackers, kind of by mistake, but they were talent that fell to us. But let's do it. Let's do it. This is a bad draft for the Colts, honestly. But Willie Lampkin going to the Bengals. Edge going to the Falcons. Now I'm back up with the Titans. What do I got here? I got Fannin, Ale Manor, and I got Cam Ward. Edge, linebacker. Edge, linebacker. We have some edges. We're back here where we can make this play. So where are we going to look at here? We're going to Texas, baby. We're getting barren soil right there. Going to the Titans. Filling some needs. We'll do that. Get that depth there. See what we can do. Gunnar Helm. Hurting himself on the 40, going to the Bucks. That's an alright get for them. Contingency plan for the long term. Quinn Ewers going to the Steelers. Torrey Horton going to the Packers. Chargers pick up a tackle. Now I'm back up with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Abdul Carter, TJ Sanders. Out of my teams that are having the best draft. Our second, fourth round selection. We can honestly do what we want. Did we draft a running back yet? We did not. That is a position we need to think about. Especially what we saw from injuries, what we saw from upside. Damian Martinez is there. Mullings is there. We got some guys. I do not want to risk out on some of these other guys. I could wait longer. I could even draft two. Damian Martinez is going to the Jaguars. Good, functional, multi-purpose back. Cornerback to the Rams. Kaiser, linebacker to Washington. Ravens are up. They go with an edge. Lions get a wide receiver, Pat Bryant. Saints get Kobe Bryant. Love that name. JJ Pegas, defensive lineman to the Bills. Guard to the Chiefs. We're about done with the fourth round. Tight end Benjamin Urasek going to the Eagles. Chase Lunt, tackle to the Dolphins. Billy Bowman, safety to the Ravens. Seattle goes Kobe Hudson. 49ers go Batty. Now we're in the fifth round. We can really mess around a little bit. Riley Leonard goes to the Vikings. I'm back up here with the Titans. Linebacker is one of our positions here. We're just going to pull that on Barrett Carter. We looked at him last time around. We're just making that pick. We're running to the podium. We're happy he fell to us in the fifth round. And I think that's one of our last picks. No, we got three more to go. Jaguars are up. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive line. What we're looking at here. In fifth round, let's take a look at the wide receiver spot. There's a guy I like. Antoine Wells, that has not been picked, that I like a lot, that I think needs jumped up the board. LeJohntay Wester. Broke out with two different collegiate programs, good route runner, will fit in this offense with what they got. Now you can just jump on players. I think you need to keep adding to this offense to really help Trevor Lawrence. You need to add talent. I think you need to do that. We're late into the draft. We got a lot of upside with this pick. We have an open depth chart over there where some turbulence could allow them to step up. Now we're looking at Seth MacFarlane, center to the Cowboys, tackle to the Dolphins. We're going to keep Tua Tagovailoa, upright. Colts are up here. A lot we can do here. Now, we were talking about our contingency plan, and we drafted Will Howard. Now we're into the 5th round. I feel good with Will Howard right now. Going edge, linebacker, safety. We also went linebacker twice. We want to look at edge here. Tyler Barron from the U. Just making the selection, filling out our positions of needs. I get it. You would run a 1st rounder there, something sexy. But you know what? Players fall. Sometimes you make decisions. Sometimes they don't look as great on paper. Trevor Etienne to the Niners, doubling up a running back. I don't really see that happening, but that can because how deep this class is. Upton Stout to safety. Cornerback to the Steelers. Just a Steelers pick there. Cornerback to the Bucks. Definitely see them going cornerback in this draft. R.J. Oben, edge to the Packers. Kyle Williams to the Vikings. Honestly, just depth at wide receiver. Marcus Yarns. Jets go a 2nd running back. They're not going 2 running backs in back-to-back drafts. They're going running back 3 drafts in a row. 4 drafts in a row. Elijah Huzzle, Connor Colby going off the board. Eagles go guard, cornerback. Now I'm up with the Texans. I got some guys looking at me. I got a backup quarterback. I got Kobe King looking at me. That can give me a linebacker right there that I like. I like it. Sometimes I'm just going to draft players I like. I'm drafting Kobe King. I hope I hit the right button. Yeah, I did. There we go. So there we are. Titans are up with another pick. Here we are. And we're really filling out our defense with some dudes here. And looking at what we got down here, Kyle McCord's a good value this part of the draft. I'll say that. Nick Nash. We got some tight ends. I like Cody Simon. Get another linebacker. I don't care. We're at depth here. Bring him to camp. Set him back in the roster. Plug him in. That's what we're looking at here. Edge to the Eagles. Edge to the Bills. Tight end to the Bills. Getting talent. Nick Nash to the Cowboys. Tight end to Seattle. Emory Jones to the Bills. Tesla to the Cowboys. Back-to-back wide receivers in this round. Ravens, now we're to the 6th round. Honestly, we're looking for depth. We're looking for camp bodies. We're looking for guys that can fill out the back end of our roster. We're looking for guys with potential upside. And the one thing I want to look at is depth for the offensive line. But nope. I like Denzel Burke. Depth at cornerback. A lot of times we're rolling out 4 cornerbacks. You need depth back there. I like Denzel Burke a lot. He should not be falling this far. We're getting him in the 6th round. Don't care. We don't really care too much about needs this part. We're gonna have camp battles. We can cut a 6th rounder. That ain't nothing. Now we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We just drafted our 1st running back. We got a wide receiver. Now let's get some meat and potatoes in here. Let's draft a tackle. No, let's get another linebacker. There's 2 of them. That means there's a lot on the board right now. There's a lot on the board. We're going to wait on that. Bashal Tootin still on the board. I think he's going to get drafted. Let's go with Logan Brown here from Kansas. He's getting something on the offensive line. Ravens, Danny Stutzman. Saints, Ollie Gordon. That's a huge pickup for them. Tonka Hemingway goes to the Steelers. LaQuinn Allen going to the Jets. Caden Preekercorn going to the 49ers. I'm back up. With the Titans. Linebackers available. Is this the team where I went linebacker heavy? I have. I went defense pretty heavy this last part. So we're going to ignore that part of the draft. John Williams is right there. Basil Tootin's right there. He's fallen too far. That's such a good value there with the speed. And now I'm up with the Colts. Tight end, guard, anything really available. Edge. We're going to would have drafted. Linebacker, edge. 2 edges, 2 linebackers really filled out that defense. Look at tight end here. Looking at what's up. Rondé Gadsden, come on down to the Colts. I think that's a good ad for them. Rams are up. Keandre Lambert-Smith. Wide receiver to the Broncos. Tackle to the Browns. Halfback to the Bengals. One guy from Rutgers. Now we're looking at the Jaguars. We're back on the clock here. Looking at what we've drafted. We're going meat and potatoes for these last few picks. Jaguars. Let's bring in a safety here, Caleb Renshaw. Let's bring that in. Let's finish up this draft here. We're about to hit that 7th round. Rams are up. They go quarterback. Lions are up. Defensive line. Broncos, halfback. Adding talent there, adding depth. They need to do that. They need to do that. Tim Smith, Alabama. Dante Thornton Jr. to the Browns. Now we're just stacking bodies for camp, finding back in depth. That's what we're seeing here in the back of the draft. Not really filling out need as much, but we can if we want. A lot of these players won't be on rosters. A lot of them won't. Some of them will be journeyman backups. We'll get some starters here that hit, but still. Looking at some of these players. Ricky White to the Jets. That's a huge get for them. Jimmy Horn's got some speed. Very twitched up. Antoine Wells Jr. Interesting get for the Chargers. I think this is their 2nd or 3rd wide receiver. Luke Lashley going to the Cowboys. Major center going to the Ravens. And we're just finishing up this part of the 6th round. Now we're just going to fly through the 7th round. We're going to try to at least. Patriots are on the clock. They got 2 picks here early on in the 7th round. I'm going to be picking here soon for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Brady Cook, and they draft Jordan James for the Patriots, and they also get Curtis Short. Now I'm up. I am just going to make a quick pick here. Defensive line, adding depth. We got 3 of them, though. Dean Clark's right there. We just did a safety. Miles Frazier, adding depth at guard is probably something we need to do there. Just getting a camp body, Power 5 program. I think that's a smart move. Getting that for the camp coming up here in July. Just getting some bodies in there. See if we can get some depth. Moving on down. Dean Clark coming off. We're getting the safeties coming off. Woody Marks off the board. Clay Webb off the board. Woody Marks, huge get for the Niners as they're adding to that running back depth chart. They need to add to that running back depth chart to get some talent there. They also got talent there, but it really depends on what goes on with Christian McCaffrey long term. We're up with the Colts. Colts are up. I say the Colts can go sexy here, and I think your best bang for the buck is running back. Running back. I think Rocket Sanders is underrated. Big-time prospect from Arkansas, then transferred to South Carolina, has some size, showed some speed at the combine. I think as a depth piece at the running back position, probably be better than the jabronis you had on the back end of the depth chart last year. Looking at what we have here for the Texans, we have 2 more picks. And you know what? What else we got here? Graham Mertz, Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore right there. Right there. This late, let's pull it. Let's pull it. Packers are up. Packers go Theo Weiss. 5-star prospect. Did not live up to it. We got linebacker going to the Patriots. Wide receiver Will Shepard. That's a huge get for the Cowboys. That's a huge get here in the 7th round. Texans are back up. There's a pick I want to make. I want to go sexy right here. Donovan Edwards. I don't want him falling out of the draft. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. We're getting depth at running back. We need to get younger there. This is just going to have a deep running back depth chart there for the Texans. It's going to help them for the long term. Likely to latch onto the roster for the long term as well. Joshua Gray, Montrell Johnson, they're just tapping running back. The Giants are. Samuel Brown, they're tapping wide receiver too much for this to be realistic. Jordan Hancock, we're almost done with this draft. Soon we got the Chiefs. Soon we got the Niners. Next up is the Dolphins. Linebacker, cornerback, guard, wide receiver. Just patch up pieces here. Rock Taylor to the Chargers. Good get, but they're drafting too many wide receivers for this to be taken seriously. And that's it for the 7th round mock draft. I just earned an award from PFF from doing so many mock drafts. But let me know what we missed. Who fell too far? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.